welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favour freedom and yet deprecate agitation are men who want crops without ploughing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. I'm Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
And I am Guy Pigden, listening to the preachiest, most pretentious bullshit imaginable.
That is from a new contemporary rapper. His name is Frederick Douglass.
Well, thank you, fucking Frederick. Yeah, fuck.
His album is called There Is No Struggle. And I recommend that you go check it out.
There is no struggle without having to listen to these type of lyrics through an entire album. That's very true, Frederick, so congratulations on that one.
Listeners, go out and look him up, Frederick Douglass.
Just give me a bit of, like, you know, sexist, like, raps about people, you know, who have a lot of money. Where's that? Bring back that.
Bring that back.
Forget all this fucking conscious rap and bring that back, please. Fucking tired of this coming into my ear holes.
So that one was for Jason Coombs. That wasn't too hard. Cool. So I have just come back from my ballet class. Yes, dear listeners, I do a ballet class on Fridays. It's not actually ballet. It's a ballet themed gym class. But there is a few pirouettes, a couple of, the other ones, whatever they are. I bumped into, two of Guy's ex-girlfriends go to my gym.
I've got a story about an ex-girlfriend as well, so continue.
So that's good. And I bumped into your ex-girlfriend, Kim.com.
Sure old Kim.com, eh?
Kim.com. For the first time, in ages, I hardly ever see her at my gym.
Yeah.
But I saw her today, Kim.com. So I saw her there.
And you're like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I think that not being with you agrees with her, because she seems to be in, like, pretty good shape nowadays. Well, not that she was in bad shape before.
Well, she was always in good shape.
But it seems
let's be fair.
Even more so.
Let's be fair.
She's really throwing herself into it.
She's really...
throwing herself into that... gymming to forget about you.
To forget about the pain of being with me for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you chat about? Anything?
Oh, her. She's just got a new job. She's going to be. She's a very successful person. She's just got a new job, paying twice as much as she was on before, and I think she was on a good wage before. And it involves a lot of international travel. So good for her.
Now, just to put that into perspective for you, she was definitely on a sort of a probably a 60k job a year.
Yeah, well, she said twice as much.
So that's now she's on an over $100,000 job a year.
How much are you on, Guy? A year?
Definitely, probably under 50k.
Yeah.
But this is actually something this is a life event that happens very frequently for me.
Women are with you, and then they go on to be very successful.
And they go on to be hugely successful as soon as they break up with me. Well, sort of, but not really. I mean, the main thing is that essentially you start off, maybe you're seeing someone, maybe you're just friends with them, whatever. And you're sort of basically on the same level. And we're like, yeah, we're both struggling, eh? We're both struggling. You're struggling in the arts. I'm struggling, you know, to like, you know, at the beginning, she'd just, when I first met her, she'd just got this job. And she didn't even know if it was going to give her a visa to stay here. And she was at the bottom of that job. It was like, you know, a business marketing sort of thing. But she's a very, very smart person.
Very driven.
And, you know, like, I would, if I was going to pick anyone out of a lineup to succeed, it would certainly be her. Also, she has, like, sort of immaculate organizational skills and ability to multitask and like so I've seen her, like, she did a bit of work with us producing Older, and I've seen her kind of flick from like spreadsheet to spreadsheet, from project to project, and like I'm talking like, remember that scene in Aliens where Bishop puts the guy's hand on the table and then he has the knife and he starts sticking it through the different things, and then it goes faster, till it's going brrrr. That's what she was doing between all these different projects, and she's a little bit younger than me, although not that much younger, just a little bit younger. But I was watching her do this on the computer, and I was like, wow, this is like a generation ahead of me. Well, either this is a generation ahead of me in their ability to use an interface with a computer in a way that I'm just simply not capable of, because I'm too archaic
old
and stupid. Or she, and this is more what I suspect it is like more that she is like, this is like her borderline sort of Rain Man genius point, which is like the sort of the peak of her skills, which she can just do all this stuff flawlessly, effortlessly, but not that many people can actually do what she's doing right now. And to be honest, I've never seen anyone like hover over a computer and do that quickly. So anyway,
see, we speak very kindly of our exes
sometimes
on this show.
Sometimes. But anyway, so that always sort of struck me. I marveled at that when we were sort of working on these things. And she was at the bottom, and now she's on 100-something K a year and traveling all over the world and incredibly successful. And I am not. And I'm still at that place where I was when I met her.
That's definitely not true.
4 years ago.
That's definitely not true. You are far more established now than you were 4 years ago. The zombie film wasn't even out 4 years ago.
I guess the zombie film wasn't
Older
out.
wasn't shot. The zombie film wasn't out. You were the director of the Super Saiyan shit. At that point, you were the director of the Super Saiyan shit on YouTube.
And the esteemed web series.
The Gay Hobbit web series.
The esteemed Gay Hobbit web series.
The Calling of the Ring. Go find that on YouTube. YouTube.com/Pigville and the number 2.
Well, I guess when you put it into perspective like that, some things have changed, but certainly not my financial situation.
All right, look, I better give a shout out to some people I've been meaning to shout out for weeks and weeks and weeks on the show, and I just keep on not doing it because I'm drunk or we're in a rush or there's something going on.
Well, just to finish my point, I guess you just see people at least becoming very rich and successful beside you, but you don't go anywhere, and your life and lifestyle doesn't change, but theirs does.
But I really don't really agree with it. I think that actually...
my lifestyle ain't changing. I'm going to tell you a fucking story about my lifestyle in a second.
Well, that's good. But I do think it has changed quite drastically. Now, maybe not financially, but in terms of the respect you now garner in the film industry of New Zealand.
Respect is one thing that I definitely feel like is not present. But anyway, continue.
Okay, so anyway, look, people are going to give a shout out to Ronnie Brooks, the man. This guy is a hardy hundy, big supporter. He bought the DVD, so we moment of silence for you, Ronnie. The man. He's already seen the film, I believe, and he just bought the DVD purely to support and got it posted all the way to the States. So you guys can buy a DVD if you want by going facebook.com/ISAZH, and there's a button there to order a signed, personalised copy direct from us, the filmmakers. Dave Young, he also bought a copy. So I've actually only got 2 copies of the DVD left in our archives, in our inventory. So there's 2 left. We'll probably get more, but we might not. We'll see. It's really not that profitable. We're really making a couple of dollars per DVD.
Not very profitable. It takes a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, well, like after postage and after having to go to the post office and all of that stuff to post the DVD, like, you know, someone orders one, I sign it. I've got to wait until I find guy signs it. Then I've got to go, do the post office thing and post it, and that costs, if it's going to States, it costs like $15.50 just to post it. And so anyway, we may or may not do it. We may or may not keep doing it. I'd say we probably will, but we've only got 2 copies left currently, so if you want one, this is your chance. Facebook.com/ISAZH, and there's a button there to buy a personalised signed copy. So yeah, Dave Young and Ronnie Brooks, you guys are legends. Now I also wanted to shout out Gary Fawcett. He runs New Zealand's only beekeeping podcast.
Quite interesting. Is this the bee guy?
Yeah.
Okay, so
what other bee?
Did he come round to pick up something one time? Was he in older?
No,
extra?
no. You're thinking of William Titford, who is a beekeeper.
Oh, okay.
But he's not a podcaster.
Right.
No, so Gary Fawcett is a podcaster. He does a beekeeping podcast called The Kiwi Mana Buzz. The Kiwi Mana Buzz. And it is New Zealand's highest rating beekeeping podcast.
I love the qualifier of that.
What's that?
The highest rating and only beekeeper podcast. We'd say that all the time.
Yeah.
About our stuff as well. We just find a way to word it where we're the most popular because we're the only. I remember weren't we doing like a joke about us being like the most popular New Zealand web series comedy for a long time, because there was a time where we were pretty much the only New Zealand web series comedy.
Yeah, with The Project or something.
Yeah. Just fucking think about that for a second. That's how far ahead of the fucking curve we were, guys.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But we didn't capitalise on it. That's the problem, is we just put it out there and
we
left
tried
it.
to capitalise on it.
Well, yeah, we did. I guess we did.
really tried pretty hard.
We did.
We really tried.
We got on Ziln and stuff.
And we submitted it to we submitted that to quite a few producers. And
maybe you're right.
Yeah,
we did try. So anyway, I really needed to give those guys a shout out. Plus, we'll just give a general shout out to the other guys like Jason Coombs, who's given us. He's also a Patreon supporter as well, and Liam Hegarty, because he's always banging down the door every week. He's like, "Where's the fucking next episode?"
He actually hit me up yesterday. He said that he was getting so desperate he had to dip into some old episodes of the podcast,
which he had already listened to.
He had to dip in again, and I sort of said, "Well, look, you think that's bad, mate? That I dip into my own podcast and listen back to myself." And just have a chuckle.
But that's good quality control. That's good. You learn from it. And also it makes you remember to bring up things that you promised many episodes ago to finish one day.
50 episodes ago? While we're giving shout-outs, better give a big shout-out to Tyler Adams, who is also part of the Hardy Hundy, visual effects maestro.
Also a Patreon supporter.
Who we met via email and Skype. Many moons ago on the zombie film. He came on board, helped immensely on the zombie film, did some amazing visual effects shots. In fact, he was our best outsourced visual effects person. For all the visual effects that we sent out to other people, he would always come back with actually good stuff, because a lot of the ones, they would not be so good, or they would not come back at all. So he did a great job. And after we talked about Older, he messaged me and says, "Hey, if you need some visual effects shots done, let me know. I've got a bit of time off before I start my new job." And I quickly whipped up a bunch of stuff for him to have a look at. He quickly whipped up a bunch of visual effects shots and fixed a whole bunch of stuff already, which is great. So that's really awesome. So thank you very much, Tyler. You are helping Older inch that one step closer to completion.
Cool. So what's this story about you being disrespected by the New Zealand film industry, guy?
Oh, well, I was disrespected by my ex-girlfriend 3 times removed.
Right.
I noticed that I had...
So is this the one before Kim?
Yeah.
Okay.
I noticed that
I'll just cast my mind back and try and figure out who that is.
I noticed that I hadn't been getting... any seen her in my Facebook feed at all, whereas I felt, and this wasn't this hasn't happened. It was just more like, this just randomly occurred to me. It's not like I'm looking through going,
stalking,
when can I see these updates? So I clicked on a thing and I was like, not a friend anymore. Check the other friends. Harley Neville, still a friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, defriended. Defriended. And this is, I guess, like, I would understand the like, and maybe I'm just remembering things wrong. It's possible that I defriended. That's possible. I'm not going to say I could not be to blame here, but I feel like we were friends, and somewhere along the line in the last maybe year, I'm guessing, I've been defriended. Now, if you were to analyze the psychology of a defriend at this stage, at this late stage, 4 years later, what would you assess it to be? Harley Neville.
Well, I would just simply assess it as follows. 1, you represent a chapter of her life which is now past.
I thought you'd say she'd rather forget.
No, it's just it's a past chapter.
Yep.
It's not really relevant.
Moving on.
Possibly she's married now if she's the one I'm thinking about. Possibly not. Anyway, she's moving on. And then you're posting pictures with your current girlfriend, and every now and then you're just going to get something in your newsfeed, and you kind of go, why? You know, I'm not getting any pleasure from seeing this picture at all. It's not that I'm jealous of the new girl. I just simply don't care, and I'm reminded of a relationship from 4 years ago. So you know what? Time to trim the fat. You know? And
so you think I've been fat that's been trimmed?
yes, that's what I'm saying, that you are the fat that has been trimmed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
because, I mean, there are people that every now and then, you know, you see a post from and you're like, wow, I used to be close to that person, but nowadays I really take no pleasure from this. And you do kind of think, should I defriend them? But you're kind of like, well, not me personally, I don't really defriend anybody. Well, you know, it took me months to defriend Jim fucking Eaton, for crying out loud. So my ex-girlfriends, they're all on there.
Well, there's, for me, like, there are obviously some girlfriends that you do not stay on good terms with. Yaddle, you know? And they're the ones, they're out, they're gone, you know? You don't want to hear anything from them, they don't want to hear anything from you. That's fine. But then there's the other ones, which you're on
You thought you were friends.
You're pretty good terms with.
You said, let's just be friends, and you actually thought it happened.
Or you just thought, you're like, hey, I do like just seeing their life, what's going on, you know. I don't want to be a part of it necessarily, but I like to just keep up with events, you know. You know, they've done this thing, they've done that thing. Also, this girlfriend is quite good friends with my sister.
Right.
So, like, you know, it's all of the family here. Although that's another bad habit of girlfriends having, where they stay quite good friends with the family, and they're just like, yeah, I'm just good friends with your family, bro.
Yep.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, no, that's my family. This is literally my family. You have your own family you can be friends with. You don't need to be friends with my family. And they're like, nah, sorry, this relationship with your family is too important to lose. See ya.
Yeah, but as if you dated somebody and became friends with their brother
or their dad,
as if you would delete.
Imagine if you're friends. This is a weird thing, though. It doesn't really go the other way, does it?
What?
Like, they're good friends with your mum, and then you become good friends with their dad.
Yeah.
And what? You're just still going to keep playing golf with the guy?
Well, women are more mature, I think.
Remember that time that I was bowling your daughter all those times? Good times, eh? How's she doing?
Remember how she kind of hates me a little bit now?
Remember how I broke her heart and was a horrible human being?
And moved on far too quickly?
Bloody good times, eh?
Or moved on preemptively? As the case may or may not be. Yeah, so
that's I've been fat has been trimmed.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm over it now.
Good. Good.
Not really, but I'm over it now.
Yeah.
Not really, but let's move on.
Yeah. So the film industry's been disrespecting me as well.
Talk about the film industry for a second. I'm going to be applying for the Film Up mentorship for the
Fill Me Up. The Fill Me Up mentorship.
Or the Fill Me Up mentorship.
Yeah.
For the 5th year in the row. Why 5th year in the row, you ask? Because the other 4 years, they picked a whole bunch of other people who weren't me. And I'm suspecting that I will be complaining about this in a future episode. This is one of those things where you, like...
Prediction.
I'm opening up a tab.
All right.
Open up a tab on my browser to come back to later. Open up a tab on the podcast to complain about later. Mm-hmm. But what really grinds my gears, you talk about the respect thing. I just really fucking hate it that I'm always rejected for training opportunities. I do understand being rejected for funding more so. Like, I feel like being passed over for funding, it's like, okay, the better project, something that's more to their taste, whatever. I could see that. But it does really wind me up that every single fucking thing that I apply for with these masterful, eloquently written letters that take weeks to craft, they're just like, nah, sorry, we do not see you as a guy worth invested in training, and there's a lot of up-and-comers. See you later. It fucking pisses me off, man.
Well, the thing is, I think that you are not acknowledging your greatest flaw. And we've been through this. Your greatest flaw. It's not your work ethic. You work very, very hard. You work harder than anybody I know. It's thanks to your hard work that Pigville is where it is, absolutely. Right from the very first production of Superstition Bites, which you edited on 2 VCRs, which took, I'm sure, a lot of time.
It did take a long time. It was really difficult.
Right through to, Zombie Holocaust, all the work you put in, and nowadays older and into the future. You're definitely the hardest worker I know, and I absolutely do not deny that the success of my career is 100% a result of your hard work. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
It's also not a case of talent. I really believe in every production that you put your heart to. I never have any issues or queries or worries when I'm shooting something with you about whether or not it's going to turn out to be the best it possibly can be. That doesn't mean it's going to be awesome. That means it's going to be the best it possibly can be, right?
Yeah.
So it's not talent. It's not hard work. Here's where you are really dropping the ball.
Kissing ass.
Is networking.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean kissing ass necessarily. It means becoming friends with people who can help you, which is something that I do all the time. It's how I get a hold of crew and all that type of thing when I've got to produce things. Is I have already been out and I'm befriending people. I'm giving out cards all the fucking time. Every place I go, I'm like, if I see somebody that has value to me as a filmmaking connection, they've got my card for sure. And I attend events whenever I possibly can, and if I can see a way to help somebody else with minimal effort from myself, recognizing the reward value of it later, the connection value of building that relationship, I definitely do it, which is why I act in lots of things for free and stuff like that as well. And so it's the networking is where you're letting yourself down. All these guys like Tom Hearn and all of those dudes, they are good at their jobs, they work hard, they're talented, but they are also traveling in the right circles, and that's what you got to do. You got to penetrate those circles.
Got to penetrate them holes, bro.
You do, which is why you've got to do things like go to the pork pie premiere and go to the mowers, wangle away to get into the mowers and all of these things, because you got to get in front of these people, because these are the people that hold all the cards. And that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is, and it's not. In an ideal world, hard work and talent would be recognized for what it is, and you would immediately float to the top like a nice fibrous turd,
like a nice shit that came out without any consternation or distress.
Well, that's to maybe taking a little too far. You mean I'm suggesting you float to the top, the cream of the crop, but you're a fibrous turd that floats to the top. But yes, anyway, we're on the same page, the turd page. Look, the point is that you've got to increase your networking work, and part of that is things like this very weekend, you are going to Tropfest.
Fuck's sake.
Yep. 5.5 hour drive.
Yep.
The film that you're in with the Sideways production boys is
Sideways
called
Productions always makes me imagine having sex with a girl sideways.
Well, maybe that's what they wanted.
Just always makes me think of that.
Go look up Sideways Productions, by the way, guys. They're on Facebook.
Ever had sex with a girl sideways, Harley?
Well, isn't Missionary in the Dark sideways?
No, I'm talking about like
They're like on their side.
So you're sort of like it's like a cross, basically.
Yeah.
Like a
Of course,
holy cross.
That's a good lazy position, actually. If it's what I'm imagining, it's a very good lazy position.
Is it sideways? I don't know if maybe I'm not thinking of it.
Maybe
right.
you're not describing it clearly what you're imagining, but yeah, I mean, I've tried them all. so yeah, I've definitely
see
done
which
that.
one fits best. You know,
Yeah. So anyway, sideways.
sex is like a jacket.
What?
You got to try them all.
You gotta
See
try
which
them
one
on.
fits best.
Yeah. See if you can afford it. And so Sideways Productions, Ellen and Ben, they are on Facebook. Go check them out. They have their film playing very soon at Tropfest.
I should probably
in New
promote
Plymouth.
that.
You should. It's called Fishman 3.
The audition tape.
The audition
or the
tape.
casting.
The casting. I think it's the cast. Oh, well, you should know. Fuck. The casting tape.
Yeah. So basically, the concept is that there's a casting tape for this new terrible film, which is kind of like Sharknado or something like that. So it's like you imagine the auditions for Sharknado. You imagine the terrible actors that come through the door, and you imagine the frustration that someone who perceives themselves to be hardworking and talented, as a director, would feel if he had to direct one of these out of money shortages, which is essentially the premise. And I am that director, so I play the director, the lead character. I'm in every scene, although most of the time I am not seen.
Oh,
because it's the casting, so I'm filming someone else. So you just hear me, almost like the voice of God, giving them direction or talking to them, and then every now and again I pop in front of the camera. Sort of a little still from it. Was not particularly happy with the fatness of my face.
I'm often unhappy with the fatness of your face too.
Well, I thought you were going to say the fatness of your face.
No, I'm looking good, bro.
But did definitely regret being fat at that point.
Two weeks ago when you guys filmed.
Well, it was quite a while ago now.
So it was a month ago.
But definitely like it when I'm thinner, making movies, such as in older. Much better when I'm thinner than when I'm fatter. So anyway, that is going to be playing at Tropfest, which is like this huge big thing, and like 1,000 people or something will sit around and watch these films. And I'm a finalist. This short film is a finalist. We could win. Someone might buy me a drink. There's all sorts of possibilities.
Well, so which brings us nicely back to the point, which is that I was considering going, and I'm not even in it. Best Actor nominee Harley Neville didn't get an audition, not in the film. And I was considering road tripping down with you purely for fun.
Yeah.
Purely as a networking exercise, as a being seen sort of situation, a way to hand out some cards, meet fellow filmmakers and so on. You know, it's work combined with play. And I was considering going. Now, I can't make it, but you were most upset about having to do this 5.5 hour road trip and take time off work and all of that stuff.
Well, I'm just going to paint you a little picture of my life, okay? Because this is why I was upset. Like, it's not just like, hey, what are you doing on Saturday, mate? Hey, let's go to Tropfest. This is what I had to do to go to Tropfest. So, finish work at my other work on Tuesday. Tuesday was Valentine's Day. The day. So
VD day.
Had to do something with my girlfriend. We went to see a play
With me.
I came with Harley Neville.
It was Jane Austen's Persuasion, which is still currently playing, I believe,
at the Pump House Theatre.
At the Pump House Theatre on the North Shore of Auckland, and you should go check it out because it's awesome. And our mate Joss is in it. Joss, who played Susan and I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
And she plays the lead in this film.
She does.
And can't remember her name.
You mean
in
the
it.
play? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the play.
Oh, it's not a film. It's the theatre.
Yeah.
But anyway, she is the lead, and she carries that burden very well.
Yes,
she's great.
She plays Anne Elliot in Persuasion.
Yep, so she's great in it, and we enjoyed that. But so that was my Tuesday. That was Tuesday night because I had to sleep a bit in the day because I finished at 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Wednesday, drove for about 8 hours on Uber, made miserly $157.
Miserly, that's a new word for me. That might be a pigdonism.
No.
No, it's a word?
Yeah, of course it's a word.
Of course it's a word.
I may pronounce words wrong, Harley, but I don't just make up words.
Miserly.
Yeah, so...
All right.
Whereas you clocked in a lot more that day.
I did. We'll get to that.
And then I went straight to training.
For the wrestling.
And also got a little nod. Or actually, that was the thing. So I'm going down to Dunedin for Armageddon. I have talked about, I hoped that I potentially might get to do a bit of wrestling, actually, for reals, at that event. I got the tap on the shoulder from the big dog, one of the bosses, one of the promoters. He said, you got any wrestling gear? And I was like, yes. And he's like, well, bring it to Armageddon. We'll just see. See how things go.
Yeah.
So I will be...
Showtime.
I'll be...
This is a big... If you think about it, this is a big moment. This is Guy Pigden returning to his hometown as a wrestler.
The boyhood dream.
The boyhood dream. Now, as a touring wrestler at Armageddon.
Now, I mean, we should quickly mention, will I have a singles match? Very unlikely. I will probably just be in the Rumble, where...
You'll get kicked out at the beginning.
Yeah, where it's basically a whole bunch of people will come in. So they need to fill up numbers because obviously not all the wrestlers are going to be there because it is Dunedin. And so they just kind of need a guy that walks in.
A Saturday night jobber.
A Saturday night jobber, classic. A Disco Inferno type who slides into the ring, gets punched, gets kicked, gets several moves done to him, and then gets clotheslined out over the top. And I'm hoping that person may be me. So it's not quite the same as having your debut single match and probably having a fancy entrance and doing all the cool stuff. But it's still very cool from my perspective. Very, very. I will be incredibly excited to do that. And to be honest, out of respect for the business, I wouldn't want to have a singles match. I don't think I'm ready to have a singles match, but I am ready to be beat up. I do feel I am ready for that. And I will not shame anyone in the IPW because IPW, the wrestlers who've been training me, they're all exceptionally talented. And I wouldn't want to bring disrepute to our name by looking like a fucking idiot out there, which isn't, I was going to say entirely possible. I don't want to say that. But, by having a singles match and making them look bad because I suck.
Yep.
So anyway, that's coming up. I feel like we got off a little bit. So my busy. But anyway, so did the wrestling training, then went and Ubered afterwards for another few hours till about 2 a.m. Then the next day got up, Ubered all afternoon. So I Ubered for about 4 or 5 hours in rush hour, and I got a few Uber stories about that, but I'll get to that. Then I went straight to my other work at 10 p.m., worked until 6 a.m.
Yeah, we're all fucking busy, bro. Get on with it. Fuck, who cares?
Then I woke up today to record this podcast. Then I'm going straight to Uber until about 12 midnight. Then I'll wake up at about 9 a.m. tomorrow and I'll drive to New Plymouth.
Right.
Now you can see why that is not ideal.
Well, sure, yeah, I mean... on your day off, bro, you gotta... you have to take a day off to go down to...
So I've got to drive 5 hours down to Tropfest. Yeah. I take that one night off. I drive back on Sunday for 5 hours.
Which is a Saturday, a big earning night for an Uber driver.
Yep. Then on Sunday, I drive back for 5 hours. Well, as soon as I get back, I go straight to my work at my other job for 12 hours, 6 p.m. till 6 a.m.
Yeah, well, see, now this is exactly my point, is that you're not seeing the opportunity for what it is. You're basically, what you're saying is you did a whole bunch of non-productive crap all week. You've got one productive thing on, which is going to Tropfest, a massive opportunity to showcase your acting abilities, meet a lot of people, shake a lot of hands, give out your cards and secure future roles with other film directors and meet producers and all of that stuff. And for some reason, that's the low light of your week.
It's not the low light. The low light is doing all the other stuff. But the issue is not even that. It's just a I'm tired as fuck, dog. And I'm going to be fucking tired when I'm there, and I'm going to be fucking tired afterwards. And that's the issue, is like just being constantly in a state of 4 hours sleep.
Which is why we
it's not good for a human being.
Which is why we need to increase our Patreon earnings. So if anybody wants to help us with that, just go to patreon.com and search Pigville. You'll find us there, Patreon.
So it's more about the levels of exhaustion.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. We get it. You're busy.
Well, what are you doing, Harley? When I'm so fucking busy, what did you do on Wednesday? Okay,
Well,
you're so fucking busy.
We've got to go back. We've got to go back. Well, I'm just going to round it. Just got to finish off the point, which is that you need to lift your networking game and concentrate on those things. And then if you're doing those things successfully, you will be the guy that eventually breaks into that circle and does get those trainings that you so desire, and perhaps the fundings as well, because that's the area that you're lacking.
Well, you might be right, but there is just this fundamental flaw of the increased networking.
Is that it takes time and money.
Well, more specifically, like, for instance, this whole week, I have not done any editing or work on Older, specifically because I'm working this whole week to do this one networking event. And that is often the case, is that I'm at a situation, it's like I've got this one day, this one window of time. Now, am I going to go and network, or am I going to cut Older for 10 hours? Like, what am I going to do with this only day that I have, and how am I going to utilize it? And inevitably, or not even inevitably, but a lot of the time, I will pick I haven't worked on this for a week. I'm going to not work on it for another week, or am I going to knuckle down and do it? And that's the real issue, is that I'm sacrificing time to try and finish something that really needs finishing, and that will help my career very greatly, as much as this networking will, or more. Or am I going to go do the networking? And that's where you've got to step up your game and just be
fine.
everywhere.
I do lots of networking.
Well, then speaking of that
doesn't help when you personally are applying for training that I happen to know people. You know what I mean? Like there's no association. You're not applying as Harley Neville, you're applying as Guy Pigden. So if you want to get those trainings, they need to know you, not me.
So speaking of training, Tuesday. Networking, I should say. Tuesday. What are you working on Tuesday?
This Tuesday coming?
Yeah.
I'm working till around 5:30 p.m. and then I'm supposed to go and act in Paul Eds's web series after work. Why is that? What do you got?
Well,
because now's the time to change it if I'm changing anything.
Well, here's the thing. So speaking of networking, there's this going to be this conference. What the fuck are they called? Training sessions. I don't know, because I don't go to them. I'm not allowed to, so I don't even know the name for these training sessions. An event, an industry event, and basically it's about Amazon and Netflix,
right? And
how filmmakers are working with them, how they're disrupting the marketplace, and new ways to create revenue streams through this. And I feel like this is kind of really quite pertinent to us.
Are you going?
Well, I was hoping you would go.
So that you didn't have to.
So I didn't have to. Yeah, well, no, I was seriously considering going.
Is it expensive?
No, it's $10.
Ooh. That's half a month's Patreon earnings, mate. We get $20 a month at the moment from Patreon.
It's $10, but I think it would be very well worth our time. Well, my argument is this, is like, I may not go to that many networking things, but I do go to a lot of training things that you don't go to. And then I have to come back and tell you about these things that I learned on those workshop things. And you should be going to those.
It's all about schedules, though, my friend. It's all about schedules. I'm an in-demand actor at the moment.
Fucks.
Now, speaking of which, I am an in-demand actor at the moment. I've got heaps going on. Got 2 web series on the go. A role in a feature film. I'm going to have to road trip all around the North Island for 2 days. I've got 1 day in Port of Waikato and 1 day in Tongariro. And I'm going to have to do all this travelling to get there. And then I've got a bunch of days for a TV show on Māori TV, which is kind of exciting. Playing supporting characters, but still kind of cool. And multiple characters as well. So that's pretty exciting. But I'm also just very, very busy and actually kind of stressing quite a bit because it's all quite short notice and it's really fucking up my day at work. It's really screwing up my work roster. I'm calling in all my favors and people are probably getting sick of my shit. One guy's already swapped 2 shifts with me and he doesn't know about a 3rd shift that I've manipulated the bosses to change, you know? So actually this one guy has actually had his roster changed 3 times because of me and my aspirations. But yes, anyway, so in the last little while, I filmed again with Sam Wheeler's web series called Zombied, and that went really well. I had a big monologue, which I did really well, and everybody clapped afterwards. Resounding success. I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah, you know when everyone claps on set,
you're like, shut up!
No,
Get back to work!
No. But it's not.
Stop fucking clapping!
It's not always a good sign. I definitely don't think it's always a good sign. Not to say that this wasn't, but like I think definitely what the crew often reacts to, like, or if the
awkward badness,
or if you crack up the crew,
yeah,
it's actually too much. Like in camera on film, it's like that's actually way too much.
Yeah, it's too big.
It's way too big. Hence why all the crew were aware of it and responded because you know normally your shit is so subtle. They're like, is he even doing anything?
Yeah.
I don't think he's doing anything. But then when you see that on camera, you're like, hey, it's actually really good.
Well, you might be right. The feedback I've heard from Sam Wheeler is that the footage is good, though. That he loves it.
I'm not to say that this was that case.
Well, also in this case, the monologue was actually a speech, a Braveheart-esque speech trying to rally the troops.
An Aragorn outside the walls of, what's that place? You know, in Mordor, the big one. With the Sauron's eye.
Don't know what it's called.
Shit. That's going to bother us for the rest of the podcast.
It's going to bother you. I never knew it.
The Tower of Sauron. Sauron. I don't know what it's called. No.
Anyway.
So Lord of the Rings enthusiasts are jumping up and down on their seats right now.
It was meant to be a big, empowering speech to rally the troops. So I think it would be hard to do it
but it's not
too big.
This day.
Yes, I did say that.
Did you say that?
No. So anyway, that went well. Now, I did have something else that went not so well. Well, actually, the shoot went well. There was another project where we won't name names. We won't name directors or projects, but there was a sex scene. Now, when I say sex scene, I mean a very comical sex scene. So it's not like a raunchy sort of thing. It was a sort of a silly, comical fantasy sex scene. Mm-hmm. And in this scene, obviously, I'm topless. I'm a very hairy man, and there was I was a bit upset. Because we filmed the scene, it went really well, and then the next morning I woke up to find a still frame from the scene, from a sex scene, on the internet.
Yeah.
And it had already had like 30 likes, a bunch of comments.
Yep, I commented on it.
I commented on it. So if 30 people liked it and a bunch of people commented, probably 100 people or more like glimpsed it.
At least.
You know.
Probably way more than that.
And so I woke up. I had to go to work, you know, and I sort of woke up in the morning and I was a little angry. I was a little angry because
you felt a little violated.
I did, because it was a still frame of my body, you know. So the frame, picture this, is a kind of a close up of my face while I'm in doggy position.
And your face is like a delight.
Yeah.
Delight is etched on your face. And what can only be described as an intense delight.
And it's it almost looks like there's a person behind me as well. It's out of focus, but it kind of looks like there's a person behind me, and my shoulders are out and incredibly hairy.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
So
people on Facebook have seen that type of thing, but I like to vet these things first.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is as well that you could easily, using that photo, you could easily fantasize that there is a large schlong deep inside my anus.
And to be honest, it looked like you were being bummed.
It looked like I was being
totally
sodomized.
Being bummed.
Yeah.
Big time.
And of course, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, fuck. Because obviously...
Here comes the gay brigade.
Here comes the beer lovers. Because I have a following of beer lovers who have been supporting me for many, many years. since the inception of Pigville, essentially, with our first project, Disgusting Hairy Man. That was where it really began for the beer lovers. And so I've got a bit of a following of beer lovers, and these guys do post dirty things, say dirty things. I don't mind. I'm totally cool with it. But they do sometimes take my images and put them on other websites, on Tumblrs and sort of other like gay blogs and stuff like that of like hairy guys, you know? So any image of me that goes on the internet of me being hairy, I can kind of rest assured knowing that it's going to pop up on gay Tumblrs and stuff like that.
Rest assured, you're providing fap material to thousands and thousands of people.
And so that was another reason why I was kind of annoyed that this thing happened, because, I mean, it's a sex scene. You don't take still frames from sex scenes and put them on the internet without discussing it with the person in the frame, you know? Like, it's not really, you know, at least run it by the person, right? You know? It's not that it was hugely graphic, but it's just, I've got to know about it. I want to know about it and approve of it first. So anyway, this image got taken, and I knew that as soon as it was up, I was like, fuck, nah, that's gone. Like, that's definitely popping up on some Tumblrs and stuff like that. And so, as if to, just to confirm my thoughts, right at that moment, up pops a message from a beer lover they're all mostly like middle-aged American white guys with beards, fat guys usually.
Donald Trump supporters.
No, they're all very liberal left-wing.
Well, it would make no sense for them to be Donald Trump supporters.
No, exactly. They're generally not Trump supporters, as far as I'm aware. And So anyway, it pops up. It's an image. Did you see the image? I sent it to you, Guy, on Facebook. Did you see it? Yeah. So it's my face. And then underneath it is a hulking behemoth of a man in Speedos. And then underneath that, the person who sent it to me had commented, "I'm going in dry."
As if to imply what, Harley?
Well, he's not implying anything. He's telling me that he is fantasizing about fucking my ass with no lube. Or imagining that big hulking guy fucking my ass with no lube. Look, now, you know, it's unprofessional. You don't put that on the internet. And then on top of that, you know, I mean, I might post it on the Guy and Harley podcast page because it is quite funny. And just for the listeners. So that's facebook.com/Guy and
the Hardy
Harley.
Hundy.
The Hardy Hundy, they love it. Facebook.com/Guy and Harley, and I'll probably post that there. But anyway, who the hell wants to sodomize somebody without lube anyway? Like,
it's disrespectful.
It's not disrespectful. It'd be painful. You need some lube.
Well, it's not very polite.
It'd be painful for both.
You can at least say that.
No, I mean, it'd be painful even for you as the sodomizer, as opposed to the sodomizee.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Like, you got to have that lube in there. It's important. So yeah. Anyway,
without doing irreparable damage to both parties.
Exactly. So so going in dry. So that was part of the shoot.
Well, I guess that's what we've got to call this podcast, right?
Going in dry.
Yeah.
I guess we'd better.
Yeah.
And so also though, on a unrelated note, Guy and I both auditioned for an ad.
Guess who fucking got it?
It was the better man.
It was the Nibs. It was the Nibs. It was the Nibs. What can I say? It was the Nibs. There's my impression of Ali. Hey, what can I say? It's the Nibs. Hey, it's me, the Nibs. Hey.
No, that's very good, Guy. That sounded just like me.
You know it. It's the Nibs.
And so I got the role. That is, Guy earned $156 that day for Ubering for 10 hours.
Yeah.
I was on a very cruisy set, doing 3 scenes, playing the lead character in these 3 sort of separate ads. $1,000 for the day.
And what did you have to do? Like,
I just had to eat apples and make quirky faces about, like funny faces.
While had to do a bit of funny face acting.
No dialogue. So it was just
didn't have to learn any lines.
No, just
a few funny faces.
Show up. Lounge around on set, eat apples, and pull funny faces.
And hit on extras in between.
Fortunately, there was no extras.
There was no extras.
For all parties, fortunately, there was no extras
for you to scoff lollies and hit on in between takes.
As I want to do on film sets.
Well, there's the thing. And look, I maybe have sounded a little bitter about that. But more I'm bitter about that Uber session that I did as a replace, because To be honest, when I heard about Harley auditioning for this role, I was like, wow, shit. If there's a guy that can pull funny comedic faces that's going to be better than me, well, that's Harley Neville.
That's my forte.
That is kind of his thing. That's what he do. That is what he do.
That's why it's good for. That's why I'm good for commercials.
He's great for commercials in that respect, but also like I don't really have any qualms with admitting that Harley is a better actor than me in many instances. There may be a few occasions where my style is somehow preferable, but for the most part, no. For the most part, Harley is better at doing that than me. And so I'm not a hater.
So there you go, Alan George.
I'm not a
Ben
hater.
Fowler.
Well, that was I did say in certain
situation where it might be
circumstances,
better to be you.
But also like obviously, if you're going to have a guy with hair, well, it's probably going to pick me then, aren't you?
Oh, let's not make this about baldism.
Well, that's what I'm just saying. You want to talk about a different look, though.
Yeah.
You got a bald guy or a non-bald guy. Okay, well, then maybe I might get the non-bald guy role. In saying that, you would still be better to cast Harley and just get an expensive wig for him.
Just to get a toupee.
But that's kind of too much trouble for a lot of people. And also, a lot of funnily enough, a lot of people in the film industry have no imaginations and do not have the ability to imagine someone looking differently to what they appear,
which is why,
and judging them purely on their acting ability.
Which is why it's very important that I need to buy a toupee.
Yes, it is. It's crucial
to use for this thing, especially if I'm moving to LA.
Absolutely crucial.
But the thing is, though, that this toupees, I have looked. I've actually looked reasonably hard.
Yeah.
For like toupees, and I cannot find a place, so maybe the listeners can post something on the Guy and Harley podcast page if they know anything. I cannot find a place where you get a really authentic looking human hair toupee.
Well, it's because they don't exist.
Why do they not exist? Of course they exist. Like who?
Sort of.
Who's?
But like apparently,
toupee is Bruce Willis using? Where did that toupee come from?
But apparently, those toupees are like 10 grand.
Right.
They're like silly money. But you got to go to a wig maker.
Yeah. So you go to a wig maker.
First, you go to the wig maker and you go, look. I'm looking for a toupee, my bro.
All the websites I've looked at, right, for Auckland web toupee makers have been kind of, they just look really shit. They look like a bit comical. They look a bit, they don't look authentic. And so you need like a really good one. Now, I had a friend who got a wig from, it was like Advanced Hair or one of those places, and his was really good. But it was one of those ones that was stuck on his head sort of semi-permanently, and his existing hair kind of grew through it and that type of thing. That looked really great, but that's not what I want. I want something removable so that I can do baldy rolls, shiny rolls, or hair rolls.
You got the shinies covered.
Yeah.
You got the non-shinies covered.
Exactly. So I need a good one that matches my hair perfectly, that looks legit, because there's no point in trying to act in something if you feel like your hair looks fucking ridiculous. You're not going to have confidence, are you? So it's important to get a good one, but I can't really find them. So this is the woes of the bald actor.
The bald acting trials.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you? Because I got a couple of things.
You probably didn't know this, but we got an Orwellian meth detector installed in our home.
Oh, I did know that.
You did know that? Yeah. So there's a meth detector got installed in our home by the landlord. A methamphetamine detector to see if we're manufacturing methamphetamine in the home, in our flat.
And why would this be installed, you ask? Well, 2 reasons. This is quite a methy street.
Is it?
From what I understand.
Why?
Few people growing meth, or not growing meth, taking meth.
They're growing the methamphetamines.
Taking meth, they're not necessarily makers.
Right.
They're not necessarily Walter Whites.
Why do you think there's people on the street?
I've just heard about a couple of people down the road.
Smoking meth.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, apparently in Auckland it is quite a common, plague that's sort of sweeping across Auckland as people smoking P. We call it P, methamphetamine. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, me personally, the circles I travel, I very rarely meet people that I know as outwardly being pea smokers, people that I recognize as pea smokers. There's very few around that I personally sort of interact with, to my knowledge.
Inwardly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about pea. I did read I read a book about covering the sort of addiction of it, and
Because it could be quite good for you, Guy, as an Uber driver and writer.
Oh, so it'd be great. I'd get a lot more done.
You could smoke your pee, and then you could stay up all night editing and writing, and then go back to work the next day, and don't bother sleeping, just have another hit.
Forget this coffee nonsense.
Yeah, coffee's like
and forget
suckers.
even trying to get a couple of hours sleep. Yeah. Just go full pee on it. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Pee is an addiction that is a slow grower in terms of like, you know, you start off taking it and you don't have to take heaps all the time.
Yeah.
And then just gradually it becomes more and more. Also, very easy to conceal. Like, very easy. If you're smart, it's very actually hard for other people to tell you're on pee. But you just feel great.
Yeah.
For a period of time.
Oh, that sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah. So it's like there's a lot of high functioning pee addicts.
Yeah.
In Auckland, like, you know, it's sort of like, so it's obviously it's
I might have to give it a go.
Issue with the sort of the lower class, but also issue in the high class society as well. So big business entrepreneurs and stuff like that.
Well,
but anyway.
So this meth detector, what bothers me about it is not so much that obviously the landlord
believes that we're pee addicts.
Could believe that we're pee addicts, or see, the thing is, apparently if you just smoke a bit of pee in the house, that's not going to be a problem. He said that was fine.
Thank God.
The guy was like, so yeah, sure, if you smoke a bit of pee, say you just have a bowl a night in your room, that'll be fine. That's what he was telling us as he was installing it. Yeah. He was like, but the thing is, this is really about detecting the precursors to pee, the things used to manufacture it. And we were like, oh, okay, cool. But what really bothers me anyway is that this thing is in our homes, and it's not like a smoke detector, which just beeps when it detects methamphetamine. What it is it doesn't do a thing. It just silently monitors the place and then informs the landlord, who then can inform the police. Or it informs a private company who informs the landlord, who then could inform the police if they wanted. And so, anyway, it's a monitoring device within our home. And I feel like that's the Orwellian part of it, is that there's there's a device in our home owned by a private corporation or a private company that can and is monitoring us.
Never really thought about that.
And it's, it feels like it's crossed the line a little bit, because, like, sure, we're not allowed to create meth in the home, I get it. But on the other hand, you're not allowed to come into my fucking home and monitor me. Like, what's the fucking story there? So,
well, I think the big issue too with the pee creation is that it gets into the house.
It damages the house and makes it unlivable if it's dangerous to live in if it's above a certain measurement. He explained it to us. He said that X amount is okay, but up to this much. If it's more than this much, then the authorities and all that get informed.
Interesting. Also thought of another scenario while you're talking there.
Mm-hmm.
What if our new flatmate, because we're going to have to get a new flatmate, is a pee
manufacturer?
Yep. He's manufacturing pee in his room. We don't really know about it because it's quite easy to conceal.
I don't think it is. I think it stinks. I'm pretty sure that if you're manufacturing pee,
I don't really know.
I'm pretty sure that
smells bad.
People know about it.
But let's continue my hypothetical.
Okay, you might recall, in fact, about how important ventilation was to Walter White, and how they hid.
He's got a window.
He's got a window. He just pumps it out the window.
But anyway, he's cooking pee. The authorities get alerted. This guy knows what's going on. He knows what's up. So I'm never home. He puts the pee in my room. I'm suddenly the pee guy. I get kicked out of the flat. Nice flat, lovely flat. I don't want to leave. And I'm also convicted of a pee felony, all because of this 1984-esque structure.
I don't think it would come to that. I do think we would all get kicked out, but I don't think they'd be able to charge you or me with anything.
What if they found the pee paraphernalia in my room?
Oh, why would it be in your room?
Because he put it in there.
Oh, he sneaks in.
He knew the cops were doing it. They heard the cops are coming.
I think there's quite a bit of equipment associated with. I think you'd notice if he was unloading all that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm out doing Uber. I'm on a night shift.
Okay, but the meth detector would be able to tell the room with the highest concentrations.
Well, you'd hope so.
Of
but the meth detector is in the kitchen, right?
I think it's in the hallway.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong, but they could do a test,
right,
and test each room.
True.
Now, Nick Cizzolari, Sizzlarity?
Has he ever told us how to pronounce that correctly?
I think he did tell it.
He likes the fun of it.
Yeah, sizzlarity.
Of the guess.
He is a supporter of us on Patreon, so thank you very much, Nick. He's a long-time listener. He's also an old follower from the days of The Project and Ziln.
Yep.
And an all-round good guy. Now, he said he's been listening to old episodes of the podcast while reassembling his engine.
Yep.
Just as the Romans would have. So that's a wee joke there about how everything comes back to the Romans with me.
I don't get it.
Well, you know how I said his descendants would have had, or not descendants, the ones...
Ancestors?
Ancestors, that's the one. I should really know that. His ancestors in the Roman Empire would have been boy racing up their carts making the axles not squeak.
But he wouldn't have been listening. They wouldn't have been listening to our podcast. Our podcast back then would have been us in a theater in the Colosseum, just talking shit on the stage.
Yeah.
That would have been weird.
It would have been. Well, we have considered doing a live show of Guy and Harley skits. I kind of think there's something there that should be
there's something there
pursued.
There is definitely something.
Now, Chloe Swarbrick, she is a Greens MP, and she's famous here because she's 22 and ran for mayor of Auckland, and she came
foolishly,
and she came like third.
Yeah.
And she had heaps of votes.
I'm not voting for a 21-year-old.
22-year-old. And I think that is a mistake. I think that it's exactly what politics needs, is we've got to get all these fucking old white fucking middle-aged people out.
I'm thinking mid-20s.
Yeah, but, you know, she's a mature and intelligent 22-year-old, you know? Like, I think it's irrelevant, her age. I think what's important is what she's talking about, and what she's talking about is all good shit. And also, it's what politics really, really needs, is it needs young people, vibrant young people. Because you kind of go, 22-year-olds, they don't know shit. And then you go, well, no, hold up a fucking second. You know, World War II...
Oh my god!
You know, there's
hold on a second. World War II, when everyone was enlisted at like 16 or 18.
18, and now so you had people who were 22 years old who were like captains and shit. You know, Captain Winters, Captain Winters from Band of Brothers, from Captain Winters from Band of Brothers. He was 26 years old, and he's this, you know, famous, you know, incredibly intelligent, combat specialist who did really well and is now like a legend. And all his troops were like 21, 22 years old, right? And they were doing phenomenal things.
I'm not saying
we're not just talking about fighting here.
I'm not saying there wasn't
we're talking about tactics and strategy, and you know, really being able to do like really incredible things. And their age was kind of irrelevant.
But it seems to me that the truly greats were the sort of people a bit higher up who were a bit older. Like in terms of winning the war.
Maybe, yeah, but that's not to say that younger people couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
if they weren't busy dying,
getting fucking mushed up. But the Chloe Swarbrick, she is putting up, because we're getting political up in this sumbitch.
Has she got a boyfriend?
I don't know if she does. I've never seen anything about her having a boyfriend. So she might be single.
She likes to keep her politics and personal life separate.
Which is commendable.
You know Donald Trump is 70?
Yeah, it's too old.
It is.
It's too old. See, that's what I'm talking about. You know, it's like, and that's normal. That's kind of like, oh yeah, so the president it's normal. He's going to be obviously over 50. And it's like, well, what the fuck does a man over 50 in his 60s or even 70s have in common with, you know, the contemporary problems of the world? He's well established.
I mean... You think he's figured out Snapchat?
Yeah, exactly.
Doubt it.
So anyway, Chloe Swarbrick is putting up a Greens sign in our yard because there's an election coming up. So we're getting political, and she asked me if she could put up a sign, I was like, "Hell's yeah!"
Did she Facebook? How did
she Facebooked me.
She says she
realised I was such an influencer.
Yep.
That she needed to contact me.
She realised you had such a front yard.
And asked if I would be willing to have a green sign up, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, I would," because I'm definitely voting green. Right.
But how does that drive with the political beliefs of the rest of the flat?
Well, I did ask. That's the thing. I didn't ask you because I knew you wouldn't give a shit. In fact, I think I did ask you anyway. I did ask you, but I sort of told you. And then I asked the other flatmates. One of them is a greenie. They're both approved, and then the other guy I didn't ask the other guy, but he's moving out soon. So
it's fine.
It's fine. So yeah. Anyway, see what the neighbours think. I'm wondering if any of the neighbours are like national supporters and they'll come by and vandalise our sign or something.
Well, what if they come and fucking vandalise our house?
Well,
I'm a little bit more like I've got all the fucking gear in the front room here.
Well, don't tell the listeners that.
Shit. Well, shit.
Okay, moving on. Well, unless you want to do one.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Thanks, Harley. If you've got a spare moment.
Yeah, well, I'm the host. You're the.
You got a spare moment for me to talk for a couple of seconds here. Now, we used to have the the Tinder files.
Yep.
No longer on Tinder.
It's the Grindr files.
But now we're going to have to open up the Uber files. Because I'm an Uber guy. I'm driving every day. I see things. I hear things. I got my ears to the street. And
an old lady showed him a picture of a cock going into her pussy one time.
Yeah.
And he liked it.
I didn't like it.
Well,
that image will haunt my dreams.
You should have asked her to send it to you so I could see it too.
You didn't want to see this, man. I took one for the team. I really took a bullet.
Hey, don't you tell me what I want to see. I'll tell you what I want to see.
It's like seeing one of those murder videos online.
Right.
And you
Which
go,
I do watch
which are horrible, and you're like, that's horrific and will scar me for a long time. Well, that was the same situation here, but with sex. So no, it was not great, but it certainly did prove her point that she had just had a threesome with her friend and another man,
and documented it, and they were both married.
And they were both married, and that man was not her husband. How about you're the husband in that situation? You're pestering your wife for a threesome for about 30 years, and she finally up and does it, and of course it's not with you.
Yeah.
Apparently that was the first time that she'd done that. Just a bit of fun, bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
One thing led to another. It was, it was impulsive. It was spur of the moment.
One thing led to another. That other thing being herpes and a very awkward conversation with her husband, followed by a divorce, and she's now homeless.
We don't know any of those things. We only know the beginning of the story. But anyway, so I see things, and I've got my Uber peeves, and we talked about this on the. So this is one of my biggest peeves, and it's the rich wanker passenger. It's the elite a-hole. Now, who are the people that sort of complain the most, with the exception maybe of drunk people? It's rich cunts who shouldn't really be taking Uber because they're so rich that they should be catching a fucking limo, right? So the other day, I get into the Uber. I'm told to pick someone up at this place. I drive to the place. They're not there. I'm there in 2 minutes, by the way. I'm quick. I'm efficient. I start turning around and go, okay, well, they're not there, and I'm about to call them. I get a call from him. He's like, we soon you drive past. Where are you? And I was like, I'm on Cruise Lane, where the pin told me to go. And he's like, yeah, I text you because the pin is wrong, so I text you. And I go, yeah, I'm driving, so I didn't check the text. A-hole, you fucking a-hole. Do you think that I can just, either I'm a shitty driver who's just checking my phone all the time while he's in motion, putting lives at risk, including your own, or I'm a good driver and I don't check my phone while I'm fucking driving because it's dangerous and illegal. You fucking dipshit. So anyway, then he was like, oh yeah, I texted, and then I replied. He didn't really have a comeback, the rich prick. So anyway, I drove around to pick him up. First thing, started complaining more about that. I just kind of obviously ignored him, started driving. Then I drove up the street. Now, I drove up the street the way the GPS told me, which also happened to be the fastest way that I could see, having been Uber driving around the center of time several million times. So anyway, we drove up, we came to some roadworks, so we had to stop at the roadworks where there were lights. And he was like, oh, you couldn't have picked a worse way, could you? And I go, well, actually, if we went to the next set of lights, That's where there's that giant crossing that takes about a minute to turn green. So we've obviously skipped that. There's 2 sets of lights there, including that one. There's 2 sets of lights here. None of those have that delay. So actually, this is the quickest way here. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I guess no way is very good here." Then when I dropped him off, he was like, yeah, I was surprised that they picked you. Like, they should have picked someone closer to him. As I said, I was there in 2 minutes. This was rush hour, by the way. So he's lucky that there wasn't someone there in 10 minutes. The other thing about this whole sort of discussion of like going a slow way, which I wasn't, and if he'd really computed it in his brain, would have known that there was no quick way to get there. It's 2 sets of lights. You've got to turn right and turn left. You have to do that no matter where you are from the point we were. But he was going like a $4 ride. So he was being an arsehole and paying me fuck all, and the conversation he had with his rich friends was about a couple of $1 million deals they'd just struck.
On the phone? Or they were in the car too?
No, they were in the car. So it was
Right.
he was in the front doing all the bitching and giving me grief, and they were in the back discussing with him this $1 million deals in between him complaining at me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's like me, like, as we're driving going, shit deal, bro. Shit $1 million deal you did. you should have diversified. How come you didn't diversify there? That was dumb. And just continuing on.
Is it?
Not really.
Is that what it's like?
Sort of.
Maybe if you had hired him to do $1 million deal, maybe you could then criticize him. He hired you to take you somewhere. It's slightly different.
It's slightly
the
different.
dynamic is not the same.
It's not quite the same.
Yeah, but look, I have a very low tolerance for Uber drivers.
But
to be honest.
But that's the thing is, it's quite often these kind of rich people doing short rides where it's going to cost them nothing that are kind of fucking bitching about something. And I just find that ironic that these should be the nicest, most easygoing people. They're fucking rich.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, that they had to do horrible things to get that money. Like, if you want to be doing $1 million deals, you have to have worked, and say you're in your 20s. You've worked for 10 years.
You've had to cut a lot of throats.
Exactly, and you've
stabbed a lot of people in the back.
You've spent a lot of time, squandering your life, moving ones and zeros around mostly for other people, and getting a cut of it into your bank, and that's great, and that means you can go home to your beautiful house, later on,
beautiful wife,
your trophy wife, and your beautiful house, but you don't get to spend much time there because you got to spend all day at the fucking office, cutting throats, and so of course they're miserable fucks, like they've got to pursue their hearts, not their fucking wallets, which I think is the key to happiness.
Well, look, I guess
you just need enough money to get by and pursue the things that you want, and then you can be happy. But a lot of people, I think, go too far, and they're like concentrating too much on getting the house and the jacuzzi and all of that like superfluous shit that doesn't really make them happy. It makes them temporarily happy, like eating a fucking cupcake, but then you come back down again, and you go like, oh, I need another new car, and I need a bigger jacuzzi, and all of that stuff.
I guess it's just like, don't give the guy that you're paying $4 shit. You don't need to do it.
Well, he's a miserable fuck. That's the point. He's a miserable fuck, and he's just, and miserable fucks make people around them miserable. So that's my summation of the fucking scene.
So there's that issue. I did also have someone else going crazy at me because, again, this is rush hour, right? Now, rush hour in Auckland, to paint the picture for those of you who aren't in Auckland.
I would really hate to deal with the public in any way, in any job.
It's a horror show.
In a job. I've done it before. I would hate to do it again.
Absolute horror show. And also, as a, I tend to not drive in rush hour specifically because it's so bad. Because Auckland's roads are so poorly designed and there's so much congestion.
There's apparently 800 new cars per week on the roads in Auckland. 800. Let that settle in. 800 new cars on the road, like new drivers on the road every week in Auckland.
Interesting.
The roads are the same.
Interesting
There's
stat.
just 800 more cars every week.
Really?
That's what I read somewhere. Trust me.
So anyway, it's a bad thing. But so I picked someone up, or I was going to pick someone up, and they called me up. They say, "Where are you? You're hardly moving." No shit, I'm hardly moving. I'm stuck in rush hour traffic.
What?
And you have requested an Uber in rush hour traffic. What did you expect would happen in rush hour traffic? It's these it's not taking the logical steps through a thing that upsets me about this. It's like, and they're like, well, are you coming? And it's like, yes, you can see me slowly moving. Of course I'm coming. And she's like, yeah, but I've been waiting here 20 minutes. And it's like, well, I'm not sure what you want me to do about that.
If you could stop distracting me while I'm driving, I'll get there sooner.
But certainly, like, I said, I was like, I'm sorry, the traffic is bad. I just can't do anything about it. They were picking me up. They were getting picked up from the very center of Newmarket, which is this
Horrible area.
Horrible for traffic. Like, renownedly horrible for traffic. And she was like, oh, but I can see the cars moving past. Yes, of course you can see the cars moving past.
You're in the middle of rush hour traffic. You fucker. You stupid shit. The fuck is the matter with you? I can see cars driving past me. Of course you can. That's the problem. There's fucking cars everywhere.
There's too many of them. So anyway, I did pick her up, and she kind of nutted off of me again when we got there, and then
Was she hot?
no.
No.
And then we kind of got more stuck in traffic as we kept going to her house, which was just down the road.
She just walked her fat ass down there, right?
Arguably, she certainly could have in the 20 minutes it took to wait for the Uber. But then, like, as she sort of saw the traffic around us, she was like, oh, you know what? I'm sorry.
Oh, well, that's all right.
I'm sorry, like, I wanted to have someone... She actually said this. I wanted to have someone to complain at, and I didn't have anyone but myself, so I took it out on you.
Right.
But you can't do anything about the traffic. The exact thing I quoted to her. And so, at the end of that, rather than give her 2 or 3 stars, I gave her 4 because of the apology. She probably gave me 3.
Yeah.
But... I gave her 4 because I'm a nice dude.
Right. That's a very commendable guy.
The other one, just quickly, is the uneducated route goer. So I am now an Uber specialist, especially in the city. I know my way around some streets, okay? I know some faster ways. And I'm going to take you on them because I'm a good driver and I want to get you there as quick as possible. So if you see me taking a way that you're unaware of, rest assured, it's not to rip you off. It's to give you a better deal. So anyway, pick up some girl. She is hot, by the way.
Was she hot? Yeah.
Just as a side note, she was hot. Mm-hmm. She was an attractive lady. Mm-hmm. It was on Ponsonby Road, again, rush hour.
Yeah.
Ponsonby Road, again, another classic. Super busy street at rush hour, horrible place. Now, I needed to turn around. I could not do what I do.
Whoa. Why the fuck weren't you facing the right way when you pick her up? That pisses me out. Tell you what boils my piss is when the fucking Uber driver
take it easy there, mate.
Comes and picks me up facing the wrong way.
Number one.
Turn around on my dime. I don't fucking think so.
Number one.
When that happens, I always give them the signal to turn around. I'm like, turn around, you fucker. Like, turn around, then I'm getting in.
You're one of those total assholes.
No, fuck it. I'm not getting in the Uber, so you can turn around. Yeah, turn around and pick me up going the way we want to fucking go.
Let's make 2 things perfectly clear.
Fucking Uber drivers.
You fucking idiot. Number one, I was picking her up on that. I couldn't, if I was facing the right way for her, I would be driving down the wrong side of the road.
So she was on the wrong side of the road for the direction she wanted to go.
For the direction she wanted to go.
Right, well she's stupid. So, I always go to the right side of the road.
Well, it's where you drop the pin. But also, you also have to remember this one, Harley, you fucker, you annoying little fuckface, fucking up Ubers. Okay,
1 star.
Where you put the pin, right? Like, you try and go to the pin on the side of the road that the pin is. They're frequently on the other side of that. So if you put the pin and then cross the road, they're still going to where the pin is. You're just being fucking annoying.
No, because let me tell you, I used to live at the end of a dead-end street. A dead-end fucking street.
You're one of these fucking annoying Uber fucking riders.
Here's two different scenarios where the dumbasses are facing the wrong way, both of which they are wrong. One, I lived at the end of a dead-end street, and they used to come down facing and wait outside facing, the end of the street. And it's like, okay, mate, like, chances are we're not going that way, eh?
Yeah,
fucking figure it out, bro.
But no, you asshole. They're fucking parked close to you so you can get in with the most convenience and ease.
That's fine.
And then they'll turn around, which costs you nothing.
It does cost me.
No, it doesn't.
I'm on the clock, bro.
You're not on the clock.
As soon as
That's
he
not
swipes
how
it.
Uber
As soon as
works.
he swipes it.
You are not on the clock. That turnaround does not cost anything.
Here's another one that really...
they go to the pin. That's their job, to park outside the pin.
Yeah.
Not the fucking turn round.
Hey, use some initiative.
Okay, guess what? I just did that. I just fucking did that. And you know what they did? Made me fucking turn around and go to their side of the road. So you can't fucking win. So you're just being an ass.
No, because not on a dead-end street, man. We're obviously going up the hill. Turn the fuck around. The other time...
That is such a dick fucking thing.
No way, man.
Yes, because you're meant to go to the pin. The people do have a big issue when you park on the wrong side of the road and they have to cross the road. That is a great annoyance to some people.
Not me.
Yeah, but they don't know that. So we're just doing what we normally do to satisfy passengers.
No.
You just happen to be a prick.
No, turn around, we're going up the hill, you fool. The other one was that I used to always live in a different street, and I used to go to the Thirsty Dog for poetry, right? And they would pick me up from the top of the street, knowing the destination we were going to was behind them.
Oh, that's fucking ridiculous.
Then they would end up going down the hill, around like 3 blocks, through a set of lights, and then going back to this big main road, which we were 20 meters from.
No, that's fucking
if they
ridiculous,
had showed
Harley.
Up, turn around.
I know where the Thirsty Dog is, right? So I know how you would get there as an Uber driver.
From our old house.
Okay, so that street is a big, wide street. You would definitely not park on the wrong side of the street. That's how you get missed by people. Like, if I had $1 for every time someone comes out and you're there, but you're on the wrong side of the street, and they're like looking around like, where is he? Where is he? I don't know. Because I'm expecting him right at my feet. That's where I get my Ubers from, right at my feet. So that is so unfair.
No, because he would turn around, picture our old house, he would turn around, be outside our old house, facing the way that we're going, as opposed to...
No, he couldn't be.
Facing... Yes, he could.
The Thirsty Dog is on the left-hand side of the road.
The Thirsty Dog. We're talking about the pickup from my home. From my home. He's
Commercial road.
He's meant to be outside. Well, luckily it's our old home. We don't really usually tell people where we live. And so he was at the top of the street, facing the wrong way to go down the hill to take me all around the block and all that stuff.
Okay.
To go to a place which was directly behind him.
Thing, you fucking cunt. Right now, I'm really fucking furious.
Riled up about this
I'm
one.
so riled up about this because you've been fucking up Uber drivers. The other thing is...
No, because here's another thing.
There's the other thing, Harley.
Hey, hold your horses.
This is going to destroy your argument completely.
Firstly, I don't rate them down still. I still give everyone 5 stars.
Okay,
I'm just saying that they need to lift their fucking game.
Okay, and I'm saying it's impossible for them to lift their fucking game because they don't know where you're fucking going.
Why?
They do not know. It's not in the thing. You put the pin in. When they pick you up and press start trip, that's the time they know where you're going.
Right.
So they have no fucking clue where you're going or which way they should ever fucking face. You fucker!
Which is why it's perfect that I tell them to turn around before I get in so they can fucking figure it out and not take me the long way.
You can't, there's the thing, they don't know where they're fucking going. You can't be mad at them because they're parked on the wrong side. They can be parked anywhere, they just don't fucking know.
And why don't they know that? Is it so that you losers don't say, no, I don't want that ride because it's too short?
It's because basically it's to stop us, not accepting shitty rides.
Yeah.
Which
this is probably a good idea.
Which are most of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Harley's been hating on all these poor Uber drivers, these poor lost souls.
I've been making them turn around and take me in the direction I'm fucking going.
Which they didn't know which direction they're meant to be going. So all they were doing is being the best Uber driver they possibly could by parking right outside his house.
And all I did was make them turn around.
And hate on them because you thought they were fucking being dicks.
The guys at the bottom of the hill, where we lived in a dead-end street, they were dicks. They were dumb motherfuckers. Don't face down the hill, man. Turn around. You know we're going up. Turn around. I'll get in the car.
But that's the problem, is a lot of people don't think that way. So 90% of people just want to be picked up from exactly their spot. Not regardless of where the street is going. Because that's just Uber.
Right.
That's just the way it goes.
Well, each to their own, I guess. But
Flying into an Uber rage.
Flying into an Uber rage.
I'm going to Uber, so I'm going to have to deal with people like you.
I'm fucking
really
tempted.
shortly.
I'm tempted, Guy, to give you 1 star next time, just purely out of spite for your rage in this podcast.
Look, you know what?
Just to bring you fucking down to earth.
If you give me 1 star, you will actually possibly get me fired off Uber. I'll be fired off Uber.
That's how close you are to the edge?
Well, no, it's how close every Uber driver is to the edge. Because anytime they get 1 star, there's an investigation.
Right. All right, well, look.
I've got to calm down. I'm going to be in road rage while I'm driving.
He's going to knock somebody out. All right, okay, cool. Well, look, we better wrap this up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to finish on something from Jason Coombs.
Yep.
He said that... because we discussed the fact that you grew up whacking off to Katie Holmes in Dawson's Creek.
Yep.
Now, and then how you watched The Gift, which was an incredible gift for you because she gets her tits out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yes. So Jason says, Guy, The Gift is yet another movie that was filmed in Savannah, which is where he's from. So when you were whacking it to Katie Holmes, you were also whacking it to the southern Gothic beauty of my city. Cheers. So it's good. It's good. Now, we do take feedback, guys. So if you want to give us any feedback, if you want to give us any topics, you can go facebook.com/Guy and Harley and send us a message or write us a comment, and we will do our best to accommodate you.
Jason also mentioned, he sent us an article about billionaires building
bolt holes in New Zealand.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
When the world's going to end, New Zealand is a good spot to be in.
Nice and far away from all the nukes.
Yeah, quite remote.
The nearest nuke will be in the ACT, the Australian Capital Territory, in Canberra. That's still fairly far from us.
Right.
It's closer than you'd like, but it's fairly
closer than you like when the winds are a-changing.
Exactly, and the winds could definitely blow those radioactive clouds over to us. Absolutely, because there was. Are
they going to blow to the North Island or South Island? North Island.
I don't know.
Right. North Island is closer to Australia than the South, right?
Well, maybe the bottom of the South Island. But anyway, it really depends on the winds. But there was a volcano that went off in Chile a few years back, and it put up all this fine ash into the air, and it delayed my flight by a week or more, because what happened was all this ash went into the air, circumnavigated the entire Earth up in the stratosphere, and was grounding planes in Auckland. On the other side of the world. So that nuclear radiation from Canberra would, when they fucking nuke the Australians for supporting the Americans, would definitely probably come to us eventually.
Right. Those volcanic eruptions are very good for climate change.
Because they reflect away some of the sunlight that's coming in. And
they do a bunch of things. And one of the theories that people are saying in terms of last minute doomsday preventers is basically triggering a bunch of volcanic eruptions around the world to put this ash into the air to reflect the sunlight back and slow the
global warming.
Yeah.
But the flip side of that, of course, is that some global climate change things have been caused in the past by massive volcanic eruptions because, of course, they're spewing carbon into the atmosphere the entire time from the volcano, from the center of the Earth. Carbon that was stored safely in the Earth, not the center, but in the mantle, safely there, is now spewing out into the atmosphere. You'd need to do some calculations.
Yeah, there's another one about fleets of boats reflecting light, something like that, and they're doing something as well with the air.
Yeah, and probably doing something like de-acidifying the water at the same time or something. See if that works.
Okay, someone just wrote a book on it who's good friends with my dad.
Right.
Jim Flynn, Professor Jim Flynn.
And what's the book say?
Well, that was the boats thing was the thing that he posited as...
Doesn't seem that practical to build that many boats.
The issue was
carbon cost must be huge.
It wasn't so much the carbon cost of the boats, but it was the cost.
The monetary cost.
Yeah, the monetary cost was a big... they're all desperate measures now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I think that the answer lies somewhere in
becoming vegans. God damn it!
In changing the diets of people forcibly. Like, as in not forcibly, like forcing people gun to your head become a vegan, but making vegan and vegetarian options way more affordable and skyrocketing the price of meat so that most people return to a vegetable-based diet.
Yeah.
And then maybe some things like obviously renewable energy and all that stuff, but some sort of something where, because they're experimenting with this as well, this idea of sucking carbon out of the atmosphere using machines and essentially compressing it into bricks. So you've got bricks of carbon. So it used to be a tree. It was a solid tree. It got burnt, it went into the atmosphere, it got sucked out of the atmosphere and compressed into a brick which you could use for building materials and build our buildings out of carbon which has been sucked out of the atmosphere. And that technology exists in a
quite interesting,
rough way at the moment.
Big problem if there's a fire though, right?
With all
like a citywide fire.
Yeah, and all that carbon gets re-released.
Yeah, it gets re-released.
Yeah, but you'd suck it all back in again with the machines, hopefully, as well.
I guess so.
It can become a cycle, so you can still use carbon because it's getting sucked out of the air and being used as building materials. And on top of that, you're then creating...
Do you think
you're giving value to carbon in the air, which you suck out because you're building building materials.
Do you think living in a carbon house would be bad for your health?
We live in a carbon house. Like, this is wood. This is wood. Wood is carbon that's been... sucked out of the atmosphere and solidified. That's why when you burn a tree, it releases carbon into the atmosphere. So
yeah, but this is like
we
a
are
literal
carbon
brick
made
out of carbon, as opposed to a tree that has carbon within it.
Well, I'm not sure. I guess you would probably still have to mix it with other ingredients. You wouldn't just straight up build a brick out of it because, I don't know, it's the strength of it and all that. I don't know how it would work. I'm not an engineer, but presumably they could use it, as a building material.
Is this a technology that they've talked about or something?
This is a technology that I saw that somebody had built a big prototype for.
The
problem was it was massive. It was this huge engine thing, this massive structure that sucked carbon out of the atmosphere. But, I think it's not, at the moment, it's not economically kind of viable, but, could be in the future.
Ask your mate Chloe about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if she's an expert or not, but I'll ask her.
Don't know if she's an expert on anything at that young age.
Oh! All right, look, we better wrap it up. This is enough Guy and Harley for one day. So, thank you very much for listening. If you would like to support us, give us 5 stars on iTunes.
I'm just putting off starting Uber now.
Facebook.com/Guy and Harley if you have any suggestions for us. Patreon, search Pigville. That's pretty much the most important one. Search Pigville on Patreon. You can give us $1 a month for the pleasure of listening to this podcast, and that would really help us. And also go watch our videos on YouTube by searching Pigville, and that really, really helps us. So thank you very much. See you next week.
See you later.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.